Right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is RenderTechnician, and I am joined by TurboDude15554.
That never gets old.
No, it doesn't. Anyways, we're going to do a podcast where we're going to chat about some stuff. So, to start off with, let's talk about No Man's Sky.
Yay!
Everyone's favourite game and hot in the heat in the gaming scene at the moment.
Yeah, hot in terms of Steam refunds, because everybody's been getting refunds, and Sony has been actually quite good about it and doing refunds for people on the PlayStation. So isn't it only on the PlayStation and the PC? It's supposed to be coming to Xbox at some point, but I imagine probably nobody wants to buy it now.
Have you seen on the Steam page, they've actually had to give a disclaimer saying they don't offer any special treatment in regards to refunds.
Oh, right, no, I hadn't seen that changed.
If you actually go onto the Steam page, which I will actually link to, it actually says underneath there, the standard Steam refund policy applies to No Man's Sky. There are no special exemptions available. Click here for more details on the Steam refund policy.
I think that's because of all the stuff that kicked off on Reddit when somebody allegedly managed to get oh shit, it's changed to mostly negative reviews now.
Just want to go through some of the reviews here. I made a little poem to review this game. No Man's Sky, One Man's Lie, Please Don't Buy, the end.
That's great.
This game
Product
has two...
received for free. I overpaid.
This game has two different endings. Find the center of the galaxy, the refund ending. Spoilers, the refund ending is the best option. 10 out of 10, best periodic table collecting simulator ever.
Someone's made a nice list of the actual things that are missing.
Lies include, but are not limited to, multiplayer, freighter destruction, freighters crashing into other planets, desert planets, ships that have unique strengths and weaknesses, multi-tool discovery and naming, ship discovery and naming, faction wars, freedom with fight, and more. Don't forget the terrible lack of planet, plant, and animal variety, and also repetition after about 5 hours.
Yeah, well, my take on it is probably summarized by all these people, but my experience was a lot like Angry Joe. Angry Joe probably did the most balanced and fair review of the game, and what did he give it? 5 out of 10. I would be inclined to agree with that, but I would probably go even less than that.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
really average, but probably less than average, mostly due to the fact that they kept promising and I mean, if you go on the Steam page, it still has the E3 trailer for the game, which is just chock full of stuff that isn't in the game. Like right now, I can see that there is a massive, massive space battle with about 30 ships, 10 or 20 of which are massive freighters. That is not something in the game. You probably see a massive amount of 4 freighters at any one time. They don't move. They don't do anything. They appear out of like hyperflight and just go whoosh and then stop and sit there. You can attack them, sure, and you can maybe get away with a few items that you can steal, but there are no massive epic space battles. Like sometimes you get attacked by pirates and it's maybe 3 ships, 6 little ships, and they're easily dealt with because the space combat is terrible. You can literally, people have been like, oh, I don't know what to do about these ships. You can literally sit on the spot and shoot them as they fly past you. They're not particularly smart.
Refund Simulator 2016, that basically sums up this game.
It does, because lied to about multiple different things. There's people trying to defend it, but it's pretty obvious if you go back and watch any interview with Sean Murray that he was deliberately vague. At bare minimum, deliberately very, very vague. I would say outright lying, because he would answer questions with a yes or a no, or go into more detail about something that wasn't true. Like when he's interviewed, he's like, oh, can you play with your friends? It's like, yes. That's not true. It's like, can you grief other players? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, because I saw that in Angry Joe's video.
You can't grief anybody. You grief people, dick.
Pretty much. I mean, all you really talked about was the algorithm. And don't get me wrong, the algorithm is very clever, but it's not a fun game. It's kind of like a technical exercise. It shows what can be done, but it's not a fun game to play. In the future, games could use this algorithm to produce a living, breathing world if they had a bigger database. So I think there's 200 parts that this game engine can pull from. Now, if you had like a company on the scale of EA or Activision, that pool is going to be in the millions or the thousands. So you'll pretty much never run out of creature parts. Nothing will feel samey. And I think that if a big company like Activision used this algorithm, maybe not Activision, maybe somebody like Blizzard. Blizzard would be perfect for this, or ZeniMax or something. And they create a giant game with this algorithm, I think that would be really good. So it's basically the building blocks for the future of gaming, or future of open world gaming, sorry.
Possibly. For me, it feels really, really soulless. That's the problem. I don't think you can take an algorithm that takes a mishmash of like an existing basket of parts, like a really big basket of parts, and it's like, well, I'll take a head from this, a body from that, a tail from this, and then throw something together. I don't think that's any match for something custom crafted. What they could have done, and they'd have to sift through a lot of stuff, but just had user-generated content. Just like had, before the game came out, was like, yeah, people send us your planet ideas or send us your animal, sketch things, and then and then had a team producing them. Or if they gave out the tools for making mishmash animals, that people created something. That
exactly.
would have probably worked out a lot better, because all the game really is Spore. If you remember the game Spore, which was actually quite good, and I would recommend buying that over this. It's basically like that, because sometimes you go to a planet and you'll see a creature that kind of makes sense, like, oh, that looks kind of like a cow, that kind of looks like a dinosaur-y thing, but then sometimes you'll go to a planet and there'll be a massive dinosaur creature with tiny little skeleton-like legs, a massive body, and then like some kind of bug fly thing for a head and massive wings. It's like, well, that is just the most terrifying fucking thing I've ever seen. It just like waddles over to you like, kill me please, like the scene from The Fly, at the end of The Fly, just a horrible mishmash of something trying to pull your shotgun to its head, like, fucking kill me.
I do think that user-generated content would have prolonged this game. It's
like stuff I say, once the makers had sifted through all the giant penis monsters,
yeah, exactly.
Some great stuff.
I mean, you could, or maybe leave them in just for some of them in for comedic effect. Just a world which is just full of dicks, just Dicktopia, if you will.
Well, there's already some creatures that look surprisingly phallic in the game because people have been sharing it on Twitter and stuff. And I think, is it Kokatu did a whole thing about No Man's Sky has a lot of creatures. Some of them surprisingly phallic, and there's just like a load of pictures of like something that looks like a dog, but it's got something that really resembles the head of a penis for a head. It's like, well, that's deeply disturbing.
It's Dick Dog, basically.
Dick Dog.
Dick Dog.
Right, something you won't see on Cartoon Network.
No. I mean, you get Dick Dastardly, but Dick Dog, probably not.
Not as popular as Cat Dog.
No.
But
or Dick Bard, but there you go.
Yeah. But there was some people that have been backwards engineering all the code and stuff for No Man's Sky and found that the thing that was shown at E3 was in fact not a procedurally generated thing, but it was in fact highly scripted, like that dinosaur and the rhino thing and whatnot in the trailer knocking over the trees and whatnot. Animals can't do that in the game. They can't knock over trees. It was highly scripted. And not only that, they found the original assets for everything that was in the E3 trailer. It's not in the game, but it's there as a highly scripted asset. And I don't think anyone's got a problem with scripted things for trailers, because, trailers are supposed to look good. But advertising something that isn't actually in the game is very misleading. Yeah. And if it had been any other company, like EA or whatever, everyone would have ripped it a new one. But everyone was like, oh, it's just a small, was it 10, 15 man team?
12 people,
it's an amazing accomplishment. And yeah, it is, but there's no excuse for lying.
Yeah, no exactly. Is this the end of Hello Games? I probably think it is. Because, it's not been a financial success. They haven't got the money or the goodwill to make another game, so I don't think we're going to see anything of this scope from them. No,
and if there's anything good to take away from this, is that it's made people a hell of a lot more suspicious of game trailers and promises. So if it's had any good effect, then it's definitely that.
Yeah. That don't believe in the hype.
Yeah, it's going to make a lot of people a lot more wary, because a lot of us fell for the advertising and stuff. Yeah, I was worried about the hype, but I was like, do you know what? This trailer looks kick-ass. Even if it's half as good as that, it isn't. Even if it's half as good as that, it'll be really worth playing. But once you've played for about 2 hours and the novelty of the whole procedurally generated thing wears off, after that 2 hours, which is unfortunate that Steam only refunds for that amount of time, it quickly becomes like, well, time to mine this, time to mine that, time to fly here, time to mine this, time to mine that, fly here, and rinse, repeat, and that is everything. And the ending, just... There's an interview with Sean Murray where they're joking about the ending being a letdown, and that's exactly what they gave us. It's just like the biggest troll of the century. There's literally an interview where the guy's like interviewing him and he's like, what's at the centre? And he's like, oh, it's a big mystery and whatnot, and we're working on something really special. And the other guy's like, what if it's just like fade to black? There's nothing. And Sean Murray's like, wouldn't that be great? Like, that is almost exactly what you gave us, you fucking...
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, guys, if you're looking for a space exploration game, save your money. Buy Elite Dangerous. I was looking at Elite Dangerous. I mean, that's got VR support. Yeah, it's got a bit of a learning curve, but it looks so much better. Like, literally, the graphics and the atmosphere and everything. In No Man's Sky, when you go into a planet's atmosphere, it holds your hand so you can't crash. In Elite Dangerous, if you don't slow down, you probably will crash into a planet and die.
Yep.
And that's what there's no hand-holding or anything like that. And the graphics in No Man's Sky aren't particularly great. I mean, they look like something you could expect from, like... It's basically early PS3 grade graphics.
I think that's reasonably fair. I mean, there are some planets... If you're lucky enough to find one of the really lush planets, there are some really nice colours, but it's going to be a lot of barren planets, especially when you first start off. It's a lot of barren planets. It's like, well, this is not very exciting.
I mean, it wouldn't be so bad, but the price of this, why is it priced at the same price point as most AAA games? It's not a AAA game. I mean, if you look at something like Subnautica, that's about a quarter of a price.
It's £15, like British pounds. It's $14.99, isn't it, for Subnautica?
Yeah, exactly. And that's
an early access game. And
yeah, exactly.
10 times as good. Obviously, it's not as big, but it's handcrafted. That's probably the most important point. You'll go around areas and nothing is exactly the same. You can find unique biomes and stuff, which is not to say No Man's Sky doesn't have these. It does. It has different types of planets in spades, but everything on the planets is technically exactly the same. There's not unique missions or anything you can find on a planet. They all use the exact same building design.
Blueprint, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the exact same blueprint on slightly different worlds. There's no difference in the gravity. There's difference in like the colour of the sky, maybe the colour of the ground, whether or not there's grass, just really basic things. So it does feel quite unique for a while, and you'll find some really bizarre worlds, but there's nothing really
unique
there's nothing
about
especially unique. It's still the same thing to do on a different planet. You can literally land on a planet, walk around for 10 minutes, and you've probably seen everything there is to see. It's not like you can discover like a unique building, like, wow, I've been playing the game for 10 hours and here's a unique temple. I've not seen this before. It's the exact same stuff on each world. Sometimes there'll be a different antenna on it. That's pretty much about it, or a different colour to the building, or a slightly different layout. It's still the same thing. So it's not really exploration. And technically speaking, you could probably say it's more akin to something like sightseeing, because every single planet you go to, not only does it have the same things on it, it has usually a bunch of aliens on the planet looking after like the little shops or these little outposts. So they've technically already discovered that planet before you, it seems. But you still get to land on it and then name it whatever you want and claim it, which feels really out of place when there's already an alien on that planet colonizing it. And it's like, well, exactly. I'm now naming this planet Turboland.
Turboland.
While you're in there looking at this alien who's like, hey, I was here first, dude.
Or do you just go through, I'm going to go, it's Turboland 1, Turboland 2, I mean, just go 555 and it's just Turboland Dicks, I don't know.
There are some people that have hilariously named systems.
Yeah, there's probably a load of planets out there called Dicks or something.
Probably not, unless it's spelt cleverly, because there is obviously a profanity filter.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people, like, you'll go to the boring system, to the I've seen this planet before planet. The people literally name stuff like a long sentence in separate words, which is quite funny.
I mean, going back to Subnautica, what's the main point of No Man's Sky? To get to the centre of the universe, what's the main objective of Subnautica? to build a giant fucking base, so you never have to go outside again. And you take joy in building that base. And there's lots of... And all the different vehicles have lots of different, like, feelings to them. So you start off, and you're swimming, you're fucking slow, and then you get the... it's the Sea Glide, isn't it? The Sea Glide's probably the first vehicle you're going to get. It's faster, but it takes batteries, and you've got to either craft a battery system, or you've got to store a load of dead batteries and wait. Then you get the Sea Moth, which is a lot faster. It gives you added protection against smaller fauna, and but it takes power cells, and you can transport stuff onto it if you get the Sea Moth. What is it called? It's basically where you can modify Sea Moth Modification Center, and then you've got the Cyclops, which is much more different. It's basically a mobile home, and you can take it, and it makes you immune to even the biggest fauna, so the sand sharks, the Reaper Leviathans, and all that. So everything's distinguishable. And then you can just build a kick-ass base and never have to deal with that fucking shit ever again.
And again, all the flora and fauna is all uniquely crafted. It's not procedural. Someone's put some love and care into creating things like the Reaper and stuff. So everything looks unique, but somebody's actually made that. It's not a mishmash of fucking fish parts and bird parts and goat parts, dino parts. It's something that actually looks cool.
Genuine, yeah.
And, and genuine, and it doesn't feel out of place at all.
I mean, have you seen some of the newest... I don't know if they've added them officially yet, but some of the newest fauna in Subnautica, some of them are absolutely terrifying. So you've got the Reaper Leviathan, which at the moment is the biggest creature in the game. Then you've got stuff like... What is it called? They're really, really big. Hold on, let me check.
There's... The most terrifying thing I've fought recently was like a octopus. I think is it called the octopus crab or something like that? It looks half octopus, half crab.
Yeah, and it's got like a
crab. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and it's got like a helmet on it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what it's called. Some of them are.
But yeah,
just...
long story short, guys, if you're going to spend your money on anything, £15 is a small price to pay for an early access game that actually is having a lot of updates and a lot of TLC put into it, than spending 40 quid on something that just feels like it has no soul.
I mean, you've got stuff like the Sea Dragon, which looks... It is bigger than the... much bigger than the Reaper Leviathan, and it's got like proper tentacles, and it really looks genuinely scary, and it's a one-hit kill, basically.
Is it? Damn.
Yeah. I mean, so's the... Reaper Leviathan, but it's a one-hit kill anyways. You got the Sea Emperor, you got the Sea Dragon, something called the Juvenile Dragon, and these creatures are actually bigger than the Cyclops. And I think the monster you were, the Crab Squid. That's what you were referring to.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is that the thing with tentacles and like the 4 eyes, and the head kind of looks like it's encased in glass?
Yeah. I saw it thinking it was friendly. It was not friendly.
No. I went up to it and I was like, whoa, what the hell are you? And you're looking at some of the dev shots here, and it looks really good. They've put a lot of effort into it. But I'm going to go off how good Subnautica is and go on to something that kind of is Subnautica. VR! Virtual reality. We've both used VR. I've been using the Oculus now for a couple of months, and you've had the HTC Vive. What do you think of VR as a concept and as a consumer product?
Well, I used to be one of those people that was always like, VR is really gimmicky. There's nothing good about it, and I saw the Oculus and thought about it, and then I was like, this was before I heard about the Vive, and I was like, that's VR that is actually quite good, but it's not virtual reality to me. I wanted something like, you can walk around and interact with stuff like the VR that, we've been dreaming about for, ever since seeing random stuff in sci-fi films and TV shows. Yeah. The Vive is probably the closest thing we're going to get to a holodeck at the moment. Probably.
I mean, that's until the HoloLens comes out.
Yeah, something like that. But for me, I know the Oculus is getting controllers at some point in these bizarre looking things. I don't know if I like how they look at the moment. But Yeah, speaking personally about the Vive, I think it's fantastic. It's really expensive. That's the main drawback to it at the moment, is that it's priced out of most people's price point, really, unless they already have a PC and they have a spare £700 kicking around.
I
It is
mean,
a lot of money, but
yeah.
it makes that money back in spades when you actually get to play something. If you could try it before buying it, I would recommend doing that, because obviously some people do suffer from motion sickness. Some people don't even experience 3D very well in the cinema. But the headset is different, because obviously it's displaying an image separately to each eye to give a proper sense of depth perception. So I've not spoken to anybody who struggles to see 3D in cinemas and then given them a headset like the Vive to have a go with. So I can't really comment on if some people can't see it like some people can't at the cinema.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I'm in the other camp of I don't really care about standing around and doing all that. As long as it's strapped to my head and I've got like a controller, I can play something easily, like Subnautica with a controller, sit down in my chair, and then just play that with VR. And it really does look good because obviously you've got the feedback, so when you move your head, it actually feels like you're there. And obviously everything's in 3D, so when you go up to, say, the Seamoth, it actually feels like it's there. Obviously the game's still quite buggy, so there's a lot of problems like if you dock the Seamoth into the Cyclops, it glitches out and you'll just walk indefinitely. Same with the whatever it's called, it's where you dock the Seamoth into.
The
Elite
Moonpool.
Moonpool, that's it. Elite Dangerous looks quite good with virtual reality. I still need to try that out. Project Cars is probably one of the best examples of VR at the moment. That is really good. And then I've been giving FNAF 3D a go.
Yeah, I had a go at that. I didn't rate it that much. I mean, it's not jump scary enough for me to enjoy, unlike something like Outlast, for example, that's got a lot better, usually scripted, but a lot better jump scares.
Yeah. Not just you open the door and an animatronic is there.
And screams at you, not really very threateningly.
No, you get used to it after a while. After the fourth or fifth time it's happened, you kind of just like, oh, okay, he's there. But when they're right close to your face, it does create that sense of, oh shit. But yeah, after you've been jump scared once, you know what to expect.
Jump scare stuff in VR is probably going to be a big thing, along with things like I played recently and one of those kind of escape the room games in VR, and that worked really, really well in that kind of thing. Being able to walk around, pick stuff up, interact with it, turn it around, look behind, cupboards and stuff. That was really good. Again, there are the sit down experiences like playing the racing games and just being able to look around in 3D and have more of an involved sense of driving, especially if you get like a steering wheel and the pedals and stuff. I imagine that's amazing to do it like that.
Oh yeah.
But for me, the quote-unquote proper VR, I like to be able to have a good wander around. Like, probably the best thing on the HTC Vive is the first-person shooter game Hover Junkers, and that's great, because if you want to take cover in that game, you actually have to crouch. You got to move around. You got to look around things, like hide.
But again, one of the
that
biggest...
just feels great. But yeah, it is nice to have a sit down, pop Subnautica on, our racing game, and then still have the whole 3D experience, but a lot more chilled out, because you do get tired and you do get sweaty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, one of the biggest problems with VR at the moment is price. If you take into the fact of, if you don't have a PC, you're going to need to have at least a GTX 970, something like an i5 4690K, or ideally you'll want something like a 1060. So the PC is, I don't know, probably going to run you about 700, and then you're going to need another 700 for the Vive, so you're looking at about 1.4K just to get to VR, and when you haven't got that many games, it's just not that viable. I mean, it's a good experience, but I think it's not that viable. But
Unless you're super interested in it, it's not like an add-on that you want to get unless you're genuinely interested in it. It's not an impulse buy like, oh, that looks pretty good, let's get in on that. You're probably going to have an interest in it to really get the most out of it once you've spent your money.
It kind of reminds me of motion controls. You remember motion controls were a big thing back in the last generation of gaming?
Yeah, it never really caught on, did it?
No, I mean we have a Kinect at the beginning of this gen. I think VR will be like a small success this gen, but when the consoles become more powerful next gen and we get more powerful hardware and we can make like older quote unquote legacy systems to play these VR games, I think the VR will become cheaper and more accessible to the masses.
The thing is, good VR is difficult to power. Like you say, getting one of the VR ready cards from like Nvidia and AMD is your best bet for the best experience. But you can get away with VR on a powerful GPU, something like a 970 or a 980. But you're going to have to understand that you won't be able to run your VR games in like max settings or anything. Basically going into VR is exactly like trying to play a really, really complicated AAA title like Crysis or something. You need a beefy system if you want to get the most out of it. Because there are people that have said that VR works perfectly fine with two 970s and SLI and stuff, and it will. But the thing is, you have to be hitting 90 FPS in VR to not feel sick. Pretty much.
Wasn't
to
it
not feel sick.
75?
What's that?
I think it was 75 that you're supposed to hit.
I think that's probably, you're talking minimums and minimums at that point. As far as I'm aware, it needs to be 90 FPS for the really smooth experience.
Ah, right.
Because basically anything less than 60 FPS to each eye. Sorry, anything less... No, wait, what is it? It says 90 FPS, which will be 45 FPS to each eye. So yeah, you need at least 45 FPS to each eye to make 90 for it to work properly. And not
you're
give
pretty
you things like motion sickness.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're pretty much rendering two images, and that's why you need powerful hardware.
Well, you are. It's two 1080p images. So basically, you're talking 2K by slightly less than what you would... It's not 1440p, it's something like 1060, so it's 2160 by 1060 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
You could probably Wikipedia it.
I think it's, well, on the Oculus anyways, it's, each eye is 960 by 1080, I think it was.
I'm pretty sure it works out less than that, because it's a slightly wider field of view, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah, I think because obviously you got the first gen Oculus and HTC Vive, I think when they make revisions and all that...
2160 by 1200, it's 1080 by 1200 per eye.
There we are.
Refresh rate of 90 hertz.
90 hertz, alright. It's probably because I have a DK2.
That means there's 233 million pixels flying at your face every second.
The more you know. What was that one I was telling you about? You're playing the Telltale Batman games, and I told you that the gas mask effect of the goons is the same one used in the mask in FNAF 2.
All right. Ah, yes, the field of view is 110 degrees. That's rather
large. Not too bad. That's not too bad.
Yeah, the Oculus Rift is the exact same resolution.
I think that's as much as my phone camera. Well, it's a wide-angle lens. Anyways, I think that's it for VR, unless you've got anything else you want to add.
I don't think there's anything really else to add. There is not a vast library of games, but they are slowly trickling out. There's a lot of demos, so if you do drop the large amount of money on any of the VR kits, there's plenty of free-to-play games, a lot of demos, tech demos, big previews of games that are a lot more than a demo. Like the first thing I really recorded was Budget Cuts, which is a demo of a game that's still in production, but it's probably not going to get released in 2017. But it's a big demo. There's a good maybe 20-25 minutes worth of playtime, depending on how much you mess about. If you mess about a lot, you'll get a lot out of it. And I still play it from time to time because it's just one of the best free things you can play right now.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, let's go on to the next topic, which is new games coming out. What new games are you looking forward to?
To be honest, not really that many, other than Battlefield 1, and people keep trying to sell Mafia 3 to me, but then I was never a massive fan of Mafia 2. I kind of liked it, but not enough to be excited about the third installment. Playing lots of the Battlefield 1 beta, definitely most excited for that, because it's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. How about you?
There's two games I'm looking forward to. First one's obvious, Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location. Well, obviously, because I'm so invested in the series. Second one, you're probably going to think this is a weird choice. I saw it at the, I think it was E3, and thought it looked really good. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. It actually looks pretty decent. I'll look at reviews upon release, and if it's any good, I'll pick it up. But I won't pre-order it, fucking hell no.
Yeah,
Never...
for me, when... I've not really enjoyed any of the Call of Duties since about probably Black Ops 2. After that, to me, personally, it seemed to go downhill really quick with things like Call of Duty Ghosts, the last Call of Duty with all the jetpacking and wall running and all that stuff. Was it Infinite Warfare?
There was Ghosts, which was awful, it was made by Infinity Ward. You got Infinite Warfare, that was made by Sledgehammer, and then you got Black Ops 3, which just came out this year, and that was made by Treyarch.
Oh yes, Black Ops 3, that's the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
Yeah.
You see, there's so many now, it's like, I don't know who made what and did it when. But yeah, not a fan of the futuristic shooters. I'm not excited for Titanfall 2, didn't really like Titanfall 1. I like a grounded in reality kind of shooter, and I know that seems a weird thing to say about something like the Battlefield series where you can leap out of a plane, fire a rocket launcher and jump back in again. But, you know, it's reasonably grounded in reality. I prefer, you know, being able to climb over an obstacle rather than jetpack, you know, a couple of 100 feet above it and stuff, and the whole wall running thing in the last COD. It's just... I know some people like that, but a lot of people were trying to say to Activision that they wanted the next Call of Duty to be probably back at Black Ops, World War One, World War Two. There was a massive movement to try and get that to happen, and they just ignored everybody and said, here's the next Call of Duty, which is even more futuristic even than the last one. It's like, ugh.
How much more of a future are you going to go? Are you going to basically have...
It's one step away from lasers now.
Yeah,
if the next Call of Duty... Do you know, the funny thing is, before this next Call of Duty got announced, I said, because the last one being futuristic, I jokingly made, and it's on Twitter somewhere, that the next one would have to be in space, and then they bring this out, and the first thing they show is some scenes in space, and I was like, fucking brilliant. Called it way in advance. I was like, they couldn't have been any less inspired, I think, by just doing the same thing again.
The next one's going to be called Call of Duty Out of Ideas. So here's
I wonder where they're going to take it from here. I think maybe now, after the hype of Battlefield 1, they're probably going to have to try and match it by going back in time and picking a World War II or World War One scenario.
I've got it. Here's what they do. No Man's Warfare. Basically, it's an infinite procedurally generated universe, and you've got to fight a load of people. That would be an awful idea. What they should do is... Have you ever watched the film Saving Private Ryan?
Yes.
They should make that into a video game. So, basically,
I guess they kind of have done with almost every World War II video game.
Basically, create, like... You know, the feeling of dread, and because, you know, World War One was a fucking horrible thing to be in. Try and recreate that atmosphere. So try and create like a feeling of hopelessness and all that in the campaign. So you could be behind the barricades and get rid of the crappy regenerating health. I mean, Doom did it quite well. So you have like, obviously don't put glory kills in them, but have like health packs scattered around, but have them in convenient places. So get rid of regenerating health, because that's kind of takes away from the challenge.
I suppose then people will probably complain that it's too hardcore. It'd be good to have it as an option, like
yeah, exactly.
How Fallout 4 and stuff have like an option for like ultimate hardcore, where you have to drink, you have to eat to survive. Having that as an option, no regenerating health, on at least a very, very difficult setting, would probably be really good for war games. But you're right, there's not really been a really dark and moody AAA title for like a World War One, World War Two scenario. Not since like, I don't know, probably back on the Xbox 360 when you had like the D-Day landings in the original Call of Duty, or was it Call of Duty... Which one was it? Was it Call of Duty 3 that was set in World War Two? I mean, the D-Day landings, that was really dramatic. Obviously, looking back at it now, obviously the graphics and stuff, it looks kind of lame. But at the time, obviously, that was like, wow, so much, very, very drama.
I mean, one of the games I played back, which Sony really needs to bring back, is Resistance. Did you ever play that?
No, I didn't, but I knew the hype around it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I played the well, it was weird because I played the second one first and then I played the first one second. So as a fact of the second one was really fun. I've played it so many times, and the first one's really good. Third one is but I think they need to make a fourth Resistance game for the PS4. I mean, they haven't got Resistance, they haven't got Wipeout. Those, I mean, they've got a new God of War coming out, but he's got a beard, so that doesn't count. You know, Sony's kind of going into that whole cinematic thing now.
Yeah, which can be a good and bad thing depending on personal taste. I think there's too many sequels and not enough new IPs. But I understand that the big publishers don't like to put money behind new IPs because it's probably more risky than coming up with an original idea in Hollywood. There's too many remakes, too many sequels that just usually aren't very good.
I mean, there's lots of new games you could argue, like Watch Dogs and Division, but it's just basically they're taking an old, tired formula and just... Division and Watch Dogs are just basically the same, pretty much game, only instead of hacking in the Division, you do whatever you do.
In Division, I think most people I know have stopped playing it because it's just too repetitive.
Yeah. I mean, to put that into context, I think the most original game we've got from this generation is Splatoon.
I've not played that.
It's on the Wii U, so you might not have played it. It's basically, you're a kid now, you're a squid now. It's basically you play as kids, but you can turn into squids, and it's like this arena shooter, and it's so much fun. It is a lot of fun. I'd really recommend it if you've got a Wii U.
Yeah, probably not ever going to buy anything from Nintendo again.
Yeah. No. All I'm going to say is Nintendo really needs to get their shit together with the NX. I know they're not hurting financially, but the more they leave
you
this
would
problem...
think they are hurting financially with the way they're trying to do over YouTube. Like if you want to make a video about almost any Nintendo game, they want a massive cut of that.
Or they want
then
all the
YouTube
cut.
obviously takes their cut. So if you want to make a video about our game that you paid for, that you're basically freely advertising for us, well, you better pay us a cut of whatever money your video makes. It's like, wow. No gaming company seems to do that. Why do you feel as though, it feels really, really, something like what EA would do. Like if you ever want to share an EA game online, that they want
Konami does it.
Konami
does it.
Konami does it. They don't like it when you make a video about any of their games.
Yeah, I did a 6-hour stream of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and they fucking got rid of the whole thing. They just monetized it themselves, and it's like, was that 100 views of revenue really worth it?
No, it's like, it's pennies at that point.
Yeah, it's about 30p or something. I don't think we're actually allowed to talk about how much we get through YouTube per month, but there you go.
You're not yet, but I'm just saying that particular video, 100 views, isn't a lot.
No. I mean, if you want to be earning serious money, you need to be getting at least 1,000 views, or in the thousands.
But yeah, speaking of YouTube and money, the whole monetization crisis.
Yes, that was actually a good trade-off. Isn't that a new system where, by the old system, if somebody copyrighted claimed your video, either falsely or non-falsely, they would reap the ad revenue from that video until it was resolved. Now it gets put into a jar, which is completely separate from both parties, and when it's resolved, basically, the jar then goes to the person who the jar rightfully belongs to. Which
is how it should have been since day one.
Exactly.
Of monetization. It was such an oversight to allow, because the copyright system is broken in general. I mean, let's be honest. Especially as gamers on YouTube, the legal issue of games and music and stuff is already a legal minefield. But the fair use dictates that you should be able to do almost what you would like with a gaming video as long as it's transformative. If you upload a gaming video and there's no commentary, no nothing, not even a little bit of editing, you probably are going to be covered by fair use, but it's going to be a hell of a lot more difficult to argue than talking over your video. Case in point, my Legend of Zelda gameplay footage. It was edited by me, like the intro and stuff is all mine. I'm talking throughout the game. Nintendo now has the copyright on that video, so they're making money off something that I did using their game, but it should have fallen under fair use. But because they have this system on YouTube, Nintendo, I mean, has this system on YouTube, it's a lot more difficult to argue because it's a case of, well, you should have been part of the Nintendo publisher
Network, yeah.
network. And it's like, well, why?
It's just
I'm already in a network.
Yeah, it's just like bollocks. I won't cover your games then, and that's the problem. People aren't covering Nintendo or Konami's games, which means all that free advertising they're not getting, so they have to spend money advertising, which is hurting both parties. So it's like I have Twilight Princess HD, and I won't stream it because, well, okay, I might stream it, but I've got to be aware that I won't be able to monetize it. Or you can do what Jim Sterling does and do like a copyright lock. So
that's just genius. That I always wondered whether it was a possibility, but never did it.
Yeah.
And then he went and did it, and I was like, that is just utter brilliance doing that. The copyright deadlock, deliberately
Thank God
using
for Jim.
copyrighted material, just so that they can't ever claim it by one group, because what he did, like, used a bit of a video from Konami, used a bit of music from Sony, used a bit of music from
GTA 5.
Yeah, GTA 5. That is someone at my door. Give me one second.
Right,
What was I saying? Yeah, using a bit of deliberately reaching copyright to basically show how broken the system is. But it was genius, really, being able to do that, and then no one company can claim the video, because they would then be trying to claim, like, you would have Konami trying to claim something by Sony, because Sony is also trying to claim the video. But I mean, it stopped adverts on his channel, which, that's... He's big enough to be able to have, a Patreon and stuff, and people donating to him to do what he does without any advertisements, at least on that particular video. All the Jimquisition videos are all advert free. But he's big enough to be able to do that, whereas for everybody else, every penny literally matters. So if a company claims your video and you have to go through the 30 days of fighting it, it's almost not worth it by the end, because the very first day that you upload the video is usually, especially if you're a big YouTuber, is the most money that video is ever going to generate from that first day that you upload it.
I mean, the way that Jim did that video was, you got to agree with me on this, was fucking hilarious. Like, in one of them, he was dancing to his pop song with, like, a dildo in his hand.
Yeah.
And it was just... I'm going to have a clip on the bottom left for this, because it's something you got to see. I'm going to have to link that in the video. What I'm going to say is, thank God for Jim. And thank God for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, guys, well, I think that's it for... this podcast, unless Turbo's got anything else to add?
No, that's about it, really. I think we covered all the things that we wanted to discuss today, topic-wise, unless there's anything you can think that you want to throw in there.
No, I think that's everything. Okay, guys, well, thank you very much for tuning in, and if we see if this is, you guys have been enjoying this, we will do another podcast with fresh material. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all...
Wait. What we could do, if people are enjoying this, is next time, like, at least sync audio to, like, some Skype footage, to have capture webcam information, either upload it to Google Drive or whatever, or just record the actual Skype video, sync the audio, so it can actually be there discussing something. It'd probably be a bit more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then if anyone has any topics they'd like to see us discuss that we know something about, then to put that in the comments is also a good idea. Like, hey, next time talk about, this controversy or anything. I'm pretty sure we'll probably have an opinion about almost everything, unless we've not heard about it.
Don't make us cover SJWs, because I've already done that with Purity.
Oh, God.
It was literally a 1.5 hour episode, just us saying, fuck SJWs.
Well, yeah, I have no problem with people wanting to fight for other people's rights and stuff like that. A lot of people seem to take it that social justice warriors are terrible. The really, really, really far right ones are. I would say the ones that, well, you can't say this, you can't say that. Obviously, being politically correct is a good thing, but there is taking it to extremes where, like, oh, look at that manhole cover. You can't say that. That's sexist. That's just stupid. It's been known as a manhole cover since, like, the dawn of manhole covers.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with being PC, but there is an
Political correctness.
extreme. There's an extreme.
Yeah, No Man's Sky. Whatever happened to No Women's Sky?
Yeah, god damn it, it should be no person's sky.
No persons. It's like in Star Trek, they changed it from where no man has gone before to where no person's gone before, and it's just like
they changed it to
you've
where
ruined
no
it.
one has gone before.
No one's gone before.
Which is fair enough, but it's shoehorning as well. That annoys me.
Exactly.
It's like I have no problem with like, oh, we want to get this Hispanic actor, actress, or I want to get this black actor or actress to do a part. But it's when they put people in stereotypical roles. It's like, hey, our film's got a black person in. Like, great, what's she doing? She's playing a streetwise, loud person. It's like,
What you mean, Ghostbusters, basically, over there?
well, yeah,
just shoehorned a load of. That film was just awful.
oh god, it is really, really awful.
Fucking awful.
And when people get up in arms about like a casting change, like look at something like Fantastic Four, and they'll change a white character to a black character, and everyone gets really pissed off. It's like, I don't mind if they do that, and it makes sense. I think that's what most people are pissed off about. Is like, it doesn't make sense without changing what makes the story the story.
I mean, don't change something just to shoehorn.
Just to shoehorn. If anything, that's more of an insult than giving somebody a stereotyped role. It's like black actresses can play more than the loud, fucking in-your-face person. They can do so much more. Everyone can do so much more. Typecasting is awful to anybody.
Yeah. I mean, for example, if Marvel tomorrow brought in like, I don't know, like a variant of Iron Man but was black, that would be fine. But if they turn Tony Stark black, then that's kind of a problem. Because the character's been white up until now, why are you changing it?
I don't know about that. It's when it's really obviously shoehorned is when I think most people genuinely have a problem with it. I know you get the comic purists that are like, keep it this way forever. But obviously some comics come from a really older time where you weren't going to see anyone of any particular colour in it. It was just going to be white, all white. It's all right because it's all white.
All right because it's all white.
That was, it's one of my favourite Chris Rock quotes. I think it was Chris Rock that did it.
I mean,
Chris
I know
Rock did a great piece about. I'm sure it was Chris Rock. Did a great piece about, like, anytime a white guy does something wrong, like the tobacco industry and stuff, they never get any problems, and then it's the shoes on the other foot when it's the other way around and whatnot. It was a great piece. Oh god, we'll probably link that to that as well.
Yeah, we'll link to that as well. So on to that, as well as Jim Sterling dancing with some dildos. All right, got it.
That was great.
So I'm surprised that there probably is a GIF online of that, and if there isn't, somebody needs to make it. There should be, yeah.
Because it's dancing to Erasure's Chains of Love.
Yes, that was it.
Deliberately putting that song in so that would also be copyrighted. Then you have about 10 people trying to all claim the video. No single one of them can do. So the video stays advert free.
I mean, it's like he did that at like the last 20. He basically spent 10 minutes bashing Nintendo because of Star Fox Zero Effort, and for the last 20 seconds he talked about the copyright block, and literally people were interested in that last 20 seconds. It's like, really? I did a whole 10-minute video bashing Nintendo, and you want to know about that one thing? I mean, all right.
He doesn't pull any punches. That's why I like him and Angry Joe. If they don't like something or they have opinion of something, they make it known. And in Jim Sterling's case, he does it very eloquently. Obviously, Angry Joe just rages about it, but the points are still the same. With the talk about No Man's Sky and stuff, they've pulled no punches. They've been honest in it, and they've not turned it into a darling, like, oh yeah, it's only 10 people made it, so we can't really criticize it. They're like, well, no, everything should be open to criticism. Doesn't matter who made it, or how they made it, or when, where, nothing like that matters. It matters whether it's a good game or it's a bad game, and it's a bad game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're looking for someone else who does that, Ben Yahtzee Croshaw, zero punctuation. He'll take the piss out of something when it's shit, but when it's good, he'll just say, yeah, it's pretty good because of this and reason. And Max Corner, worth a buy, the northern guy, is it worth a buy? That guy, he's really honest with his viewers, and he does it in a humorous tone, and he's got a bell. So when something angers him, he just slams the bell. I'll have to send you a link to his videos, they're very good.
Yeah, I've not heard of that guy.
He basically, in No Man's Sky, is like, No Man's Sky! Is it worth a buy? And he just, basically he compared the game to like a children's laptop.
That's not really a bad comparison, really.
No, because he was talking about Elite Dangerous being like an Alienware laptop, or powerful. He doesn't really know much about laptop, but a powerful laptop. And No Man's Sky is like this children's laptop. You press a button, it makes a sheep noise. You press another button, it makes a cow noise. It's sort of like that, so it's sort of really basic.
Yeah, there's a few large YouTubers that describe No Man's Sky as wide as an ocean, as deep as a puddle, and that's what it is. It's really vast. It's a technical marvel. It's a hell of an achievement just to be able to have all this like out there that could literally never be discovered because it would take so much time to get there. I think somebody calculated that if you spent 1 second on every planet in the game, it would take something like X amount of thousands or hundreds of years to go to every single one, even if you only went there for 1 second. But it is a technical marvel. It's a hell of an achievement, and we can't really knock them for that. It's been a long time since there's been a game that's been able to have like seamless transitions between going down to a planet, going back up into space, and all that business. It's an amazing technical achievement, but it's just so fucking empty and soulless because of the procedural stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the one group of people I feel really sad for with No Man's Sky is the 100% completionists. They'll never be able to complete the game. Only 1 billion planets left to go. Can you imagine if the platinum trophy for No Man's Sky was see all the planets?
Oh God.
Somebody must have put...
Given the rest of the game, it wouldn't surprise me if one of the achievements is go to every planet.
Fucking hell. I mean, there's no point in having like millions and millions of planets. Why couldn't they just made 100, made them unique, and then do it that way?
That was exactly my opinion when I was streaming it. It was like I would much rather have seen 1,000 handcrafted, interesting planets that were not even necessarily all unique. Like, but you could probably with several hundred of them make something completely unique for each one. It's too cookie cutter. Yeah. Like I said, every planet might have something unique about it, but the things on the planet are all the same. It's all the same buildings, albeit a slightly different color or an antenna in a different place. It's just the exact same thing. You go to that planet, you go to a few of these buildings, you learn some multi-tool things, etc., etc. Then you go to another planet, it's the same buildings. Again, you learn some multi-tool upgrades and whatnot, and then you go to the next planet and the same thing. Yeah. Literally the same thing on every single planet.
I mean, if you look at going back to Subnautica, there's more depth on that planet, literally and metaphorically, than No Man's Sky.
It is, and that's on Subnautica, it's not even finished yet, and it's a massive area that you can explore.
I mean, it's kind of. I think Subnautica's going to be like Minecraft. I don't think they're ever going to finish it, or they might finish it, but then they'll add more stuff to it.
It's always getting pretty big updates, like at least monthly, if not more often. It's the same with Ark Survival Evolved. That has probably got to be one of the best early access games I've ever played in terms of updates. Even with bug fixes and stuff, sometimes it was hourly that there was like updates to fix stuff. Like I've never seen a more on-point developer than Wildcard Studios, because they're just always adding content. And I say sometimes it's daily, monthly, weekly. There's something coming out, new dinos, new creatures, new items.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
the modding community, Jesus, there's all sorts you can explore.
Is there a Hitlersaurus?
Single player or find on the server. What's that?
Is there a Hitlersaurus?
No. Oh. But now you've said that, there's probably going to be.
Somebody please make a Hitlersaurus in not No Man's Sky, Ark Survival Evolved.
There's probably only one in No Man's Sky. There's penis creatures.
Okay, well there's probably one, but there's a fish that looks like Hitler, and I mean there's a house that looks like Hitler.
Oh god, yeah, that house.
And somebody made a comment of he's probably quite angry because there's a pole in the way.
Oh!
Alright, let's end it before we offend any more people. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and this probably really is the end, unless we can go off about anything else. We went on to SJWs and
no more tangents. No more tangents. We do need to end the video.
We need to end this before it turns into 2 hours long. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Take care, everyone.
And yes, and there's this good.